This kid is so miserable, living in an attic full of bats. He wanted to run a few steps, but there were obstacles everywhere. Even little mice were running rampant in the house, chewing up the wires, making it impossible for him to do his homework. The most uncomfortable thing was that the roof leaked, and the pillow was soaked all night. Peter couldn't bear it anymore, and made a challenge to his grandfather overnight. The reason why he moved to the attic was because his grandfather occupied his room. Since his grandmother passed away, his grandfather has been living alone. He didn't know how to use the self-service payment machine. When he went to the supermarket to buy things, the old man picked up his things in anger and left. As a result, the anti-theft alarm was triggered, and the staff chased after him. The old man knocked down the security guard with a wave of his hand, and the roadside facilities had to be damaged even if he reversed his car. Because the old man often did this kind of thing, the daughter came to the door and asked him to move in with her. On the moving day, all the children came out to welcome Grandpa, except Peter. Because his grandfather moved in, he had to give up his room and move into the attic. The environment in the attic is surprisingly bad. On the first night, he couldn't help it anymore, and made a challenge to his grandfather overnight, demanding a fair competition for the room. But Grandpa didn't take it seriously at all. So, Peter launched the first wave of attacks. While Grandpa was sleeping soundly, he tied the stereo to the remote control car. The next day, the granddaughter came to the grandpa's room. When she saw the glass balls on the table, she wanted to play with two of them. The grandpa grabbed the bottle and shook it twice, but there was no movement. Then he shook the glass balls hard and scattered them all over the floor. After being tossed around so many times, his grandfather finally decided to accept Peter's challenge. In the evening, he called his grandson into the room, and both of them made an agreement to compete fairly, but they could not bring harm to their family members, and they could not let them know their secrets. The grandfather and grandson signed a contract and the war officially started. The old man was about to shave, but he found that the foam on his face had become hard. The shaving foam had been replaced by quick-drying glue by his grandson. No matter how hard Grandpa tried, the bubbles seemed to grow on his face. At this time, the son-in-law suddenly came in and saw his father-in-law hammering him. Peter came to school and showed off yesterday's battle to his classmates. He also said that he added devil's chili sauce to his grandpa's coffee, but he didn't expect that his mother drank the coffee. Grandpa started to fight back. He brought an electric drill to the attic and saw through Peter's anti-theft device at a glance. The older, the wiser, Peter came home from school and checked the anti-theft device. After confirming that there was no problem, he entered the house with confidence, but he never expected it. It turns out Grandpa removed all the screws from the attic. He was happily playing golf. Unexpectedly, as soon as he swung the golf club, it turned out that Peter had also done something in advance. Grandpa went to the supermarket to purchase some combat equipment. Even the cashier wondered, is this old man a spy? When he returned home, Grandpa asked his granddaughter to teach him how to use the drone, and he easily monitored the plans of Peter and his friends. Just when he heard the critical moment, he suddenly sneezed, and the drone instantly lost control. By the time he picked up the remote control, it was already too late. The drone rushed directly to the back of his daughter's head, and with a bang, she fell to the ground. The naughty kid secretly pressed the emergency alarm while Grandpa was taking a nap. Then the ambulance crew broke in and woke Grandpa up from his sweet dream. Before he could realize what was going on, he was pinned down on the bed and started rescuing him. Seeing the Grandpa struggling all the time, the rescuers were even more sure that he was sick. As a result, the Grandpa almost gave away after a while of fussing. Grandpa went to pick up his grandson from school. The driver was wearing sunglasses and didn't look like a nice guy. The road they took was not toward home. Peter felt uneasy, thinking that Grandpa was going to kill him and make him disappear. Soon the car stopped in the suburbs, and Grandpa left him and the driver in the car. So many words were said in vain. It turned out that Grandpa only brought him to fish. The next day, Peter had lunch at school and met the school bully. The school bully opened his school bag and triggered the little surprise left by Grandpa. The result was that Peter got beaten. In order to retaliate, he found Grandpa's cell phone and secretly changed the ringtone. The next day, Grandpa attended his friend's funeral. He was so serious and sad that a song suddenly started playing on his cell phone. The phone fell into the coffin. Grandpa reached for it, opened it, and saw that it had gotten into his friend's pants. "Sorry, buddy." Grandpa directly pulled his friend's leg. This move made his friend's wife faint. He took out his cell phone and found that the lid of his friend's coffin was not tightly closed again. Grandpa quickly fled the scene. A few days later, his granddaughter held a birthday party, and Peter installed an ejection mechanism on Santa's chair. Unexpectedly, the person playing Santa Claus was not Grandpa. He wanted to turn it off quickly, but his father suddenly called him before he could do it. At this time, a little mouse bit the wire. Grandpa went to the roof to check, but was accidentally electrocuted. Grandpa fell down with the ladder, but fortunately fell on the bouncy castle. At the same time, Santa Claus was ejected from his chair, knocked down the Christmas tree in a daze, and the Christmas tree just fell on the oven and immediately caught fire. Peter picked up the hose and put out the fire, and the sled on the roof slid down again. The big tree in the yard was shaking, and it was about to hit Peter. Grandpa pushed him away, but he was injured. From then on, Peter realized how much Grandpa loved him. The grandfather and grandson had a complete truce and embraced each other happily. This is HKY Movies. Looking forward to meeting you next time.